Let's start out with some negative news and then jump on to some heavily positive news because that kind of gives you an understanding which direction we are really headed in this market. Yes, it is true that we do have a lot of news, narratives, and speculations in the market, but I would believe what's more important is to slow down and understand what's happening in the market, whether it's a short term scenario or a long term one, because we used to see these kind of patterns. Then the question is, are we repeating something? We have seen these on a short term horizon or even some medium term horizon. These patterns do tend to repeat. So, what we want to see is how much odds are there for this scenario to repeat, and then understand what's happening on the macro side, whether it's the stock market, whether it's the dollar or the crypto market. This kind of leads you towards what are we looking ahead as a future expectations in these assets, especially in the crypto field. But looking at XRP, you kind of get the idea where we are headed. Because if you learn from the history, you do see a lot of assets have done this in the past, and that shows you why it's so important. Welcome to the Scientific Investor family, where the normal retail guys get learn how to become the next top 10% of this world. Right now, when we look at all this and talk through all of this, I want you guys to actually stay well educated and understand which direction we are headed. Before that, I would really appreciate if you guys can actually take a second to hit that like button. Now, here we go. This is a trend line. We all understand the basics. We all understand that, yes, this is something the market usually does. You move up, down through that range. Great. When you're here, it's a great buying opportunity. When you're above that, it's a huge selling opportunity if you are trading. If not, you are actually being in the market. You just want to see how long this goes, where the trend changes. Because as soon as the trend shift, whether to the upside or to the downside, you can actually see that's happening. And when that happens, okay, now you move out. So it's like, okay, you're not getting the absolute top, but you're riding it all the way to the upside. Now, one can be a macro huge wave. Something like this kind of shows you, okay, usually this is short lived. Something like that shows you like the momentum is huge. The way it goes up is like that. But some of these assets actually highlight the fact that it starts a little bit slow and then pops through a macro secular cycle. It is important because when we look at XRP in that understanding, and then we actually take on the idea like, okay, this is what XRP is doing on this scenario, but on a macro, we're watching like we went through that phase. We go up all that, we come below this. But one of the best thing here is that, say, when some of these assets spend a long time below this, XRP tend to show you that it spends a little bit lower than that. And when it goes back up, it kind of has more momentum to the upside. So we haven't actually started that phase of big momentum. Now, we put this scenario in and say like, okay, we're going to go up. That still takes you somewhere around $15, $20 for that first move. Usually you do get a blow off after that. We don't know how high that's going to take us, but we do have an idea which direction we actually headed. Now, if that feels interesting to you, you also should understand that when you actually take a look at the crypto market, obviously excluding the Bitcoin side of things, you're actually watching this a little bit inside this channel. And what's more interesting about this particular channel is that you will actually watch that the trend line kind of gives you an idea. We just broke through this. So we had a resistance, we broke through that pattern. Now you can put in the candles, take in all the noise and see like, which direction we actually push to the upside, downside, all those volatility did come in. But we understand the fact that, okay, even though we had all of this level is acting as a strong support resistance. So right now you're at a major support zone, which is positive, and you're already doing this channel, which usually kind of marks a signal of a Wyckoff Creek, and then you do a breakout. So if the price is headed this direction for the crypto market, it is going to be super important to look at how many of these assets are starting to show you that signal. You want to make sure you understand this clearly, because you don't want to ride that asset which is right now doing this. What is it doing? It's actually trending to the downside. You don't want to get in a time when it is moving in this direction, because it won't last long. It's going to come back down. You want to make sure after such a movement, the market has consolidated and it is now starting to move up. That's the direction which you really want to be into. Now I'm actually displaying few of these assets, so you guys also have the advantage of having those in your portfolio if you wish to take in them. But understand, this is one of the basic stuff you need to keep in mind. You can go on a daily, you can go on a 3-day, which is your idea. But you go on a macro and you do see, like, these assets have been showing the patterns like this historically. They go up, they come back down. They go up, they come back down. But if you actually notice, XDC is not spending a lot of time above that segment, which is kind of okay last time. So that means whenever you're going up, you kind of like, okay, let me take profit. And that was somewhat like the top, not the absolute top, but you got that idea. It was coming back down. Now, what happens as soon as you change that signal? You can actually follow this up. You can actually see how things evolve. Just it won't be perfect like that when you draw, but you'll have to go and zoom in on a resistance, which is turning into a support, and you do get the idea. Like, this is how you are moving right now. At one point, you change the directions. You are getting the median like this, and then you're starting to move to the upside. So this is what you're looking at. If you're confused, that's the easy way to put things in. Or you're a macro guy saying, okay, I don't care about all those. I'm just looking at this pattern, which suggests me like I'm going bulldozer. It's going to go nuts. Great. If that's you, that's what you're looking for. If you're like, okay, I'm someone who's a little bit conservative, I want more confirmations. Okay, you're now looking at these indicators to see like, okay, where the hell am I? RSI suggests, I can have a little bit more dip, a little bit more, and then I can go back up. Great. But that's if you're trying to catch the absolute bottom of that local low. If you are a guy who's accumulating this asset, buying on dips and letting it run, this is not a big deal for you. You are just interested in this range. You're just interested in this movement. Each time it comes to the downside, if you want to buy, you can. If not, you're just sitting relaxed and riding those. Now, yes, it is also true, like, these are not the 3-4 assets in the market which is doing that. When you come on this aisle and watch a lot of these trading higher, trending higher, increasingly getting more volume, media attention and all, you kind of have to go through that. That's why we are spending a lot of time in the Patreon going through a lot of different assets, the macro, the micro, everything to give you guys the right perspective. So if you're interested in things like that, you can look at the Patreon. The link is given in the description below. Now, let's jump back into what we are discussing. If you actually understand this clearly, now we are like, okay, first, I'm looking at this and saying like, okay, there is a possibility that XRP is doing something like this now. Great. You do have corrections in between. You do all these kind of stuff. But at one point, what happens is your trend line kind of shifts. Your momentum kind of increases. So the upside now is more like this. So when will that start? That's what we are all waiting for. We want to see a break. We want to see an increase in momentum. Now we kind of, go back to all the basics. We kind of look at the pattern, the resistance, the support, and then you also focus on a lot of these indicators. You want to actually see, okay, what they give you. You want to get positive reinforcement and also look for negative reinforcements as well, because, at some point it's like, okay, what's happening right now can be negative, but it turns as a reinforcement. That's something which we are watching here. You had this capitulation, but just after that, you got a reversal signal, which shows you, yeah, the sellers actually came in, pushed the price to the downside, but they got immediately bought back by the bulls. They were heavy on this asset. Great. Now you take that idea, you slow down, you go into a weekly chart, and that's where I'm like, this is a hammer. happening at a support. Just after that, you're getting an engulfing candle on a weekly, which for me is like, that's actually super important to understand. This is super bullish. Now, in Coin Paprika, Coin Trader, it's not actually showing you clearly, but then if you actually go on a weekly chart here, it would actually make things a little bit more clearer. This is what we are looking at, right? This is exactly what we are looking at. We just got that candle, the confirmation here. It shows you the fact that we had that candle, which kind of shows you around 80% probability that we're headed in the other direction, which is to the upside, followed by which you get the bull saying, okay, I'm interested in moving up, not to the downside. So for me, one is a bullish hammer, another one is a inverse hammer at the support. So that kind of draws the clear picture showing you, I'm headed to the upside. The direction has been changing and now we get more certainty that we may actually go to the upside. But what's stopping us from doing a massive blast? This is what's slowing us down. The dollar index right now is at 106. And remember, we've talked about this possibility of dollar index climbing all the way back up to 108, 109, which is a retracement level. Now, you went down, you corrected a little bit lower. So we want to see it coming back up, retracing somewhere close to 0.5, 0.6, 1.8, and then going back down, which is going to give us some more room to run in the crypto market. But during that time, those coins which are bleeding now are really going to have bad time. So you want to make sure you are in assets which are trending higher, or at least a bigger portion of your portfolio is in that direction. That's why in our one-on-one sessions, we actually going through each individual assets and discussing through them, so you know which asset is not looking good or being a red flag for your portfolio, and which of the other sets are looking great. Because if you want to add on, you want to add on to the assets which are trending higher at that local bottom. So guys, if you received value, smash that like button for me. I'll meet you guys on the next video. Bye for now.